One man has owned several companies, sent people into space and a car, changed the electric vehicle industry, made his own flamethrower and sold it, and helped raise over $300 million. This man is Elon Reed Musk. I have read several books about him and kept up on him in his latest adventures, and in this speech, I will be introducing you to his childhood, education, careers, success, and his current everyday life. Most of my information is coming from Ashley Vance's book, Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla, and the Quest for a Fantastic Future. And according to this, he was born in South Africa on June 28, 1971. His Canadian mother, Mae Musk, was a model, and his South African father, Aaron Musk, was an engineer. They got divorced while he was still young, and he chose to live with his father. This was a decision that he later completely regretted due to the way he was raised. But this wasn't the only issue he had when he was growing up. He was also severely bullied in his schooling years, including a case where he was sent to the hospital after being thrown down a flight of stairs. But at the same age, he also started to show much potential. He was a very, very vivid reader at age 10, and one time when he was bored, he even read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. At around the same age, he also taught himself to code in only 3 days, made his own video game, and sold it for $500. As he grew older, he did a lot of moving around and even found himself in some weird jobs, states Anna C. Redding in her book, Elon Musk, A Mission to Save the World. When he was 17, he moved to Canada to attend Queen's University and gained his Canadian citizenship. Here in Canada is when he had his first odd job, working in the deadly boiler room of a lumber mill. He scraped hot residue because this was the thing that made him the most money at the time. 3 years later, he accomplished one of his biggest dreams, which was moving to America. Here, he attended the University of Pennsylvania to study business. While he was at State Penn, he rented out a frat house and turned it into his own personal nightclub in order to make more money. When he graduated here, he transferred over to Stanford University, California, but only stayed there for 2 days and then dropped out in order to join a part of the new greatest popular thing, which was the internet. This decision would earn him more money than a boiler room or a nightclub ever would. Again, according to Ashley Vance, as soon as he dropped out, he and his brother got hard to work on creating their first company, which was the Zip2 Corporation, which was an online city guide. 3 years later, they sold this in 1999 and earned $300 million. Using this money, they created the now still popular PayPal. They obviously don't own this anymore because 3 years later, they sold it to eBay, which is a buying and selling company, which earned Elon Musk his first $1 billion. Using this money, he created his third company, SpaceX, which is an airship engineering company. This wouldn't become popular until later. This same year, he also gained his US citizenship. Later in his life, Elon continued having more success, but he also found himself in some trouble. In 2003, he created Tesla Motors, which is an electric vehicle company. Since then, they have sold many different types of safe vehicles. In 2008, SpaceX started making a name for itself when it joined with NASA and started making cargo shipments to the International Space System. They also started testing some of their own rockets. And later on, in 2017, he created another company called the Boring Company. The main purpose of this was to create tunnels for future transportation. But they actually gained popularity when he released an interesting product, which was the Not a Flamethrower, which was actually a literal flame shooting gun. He managed to sell this without getting any kind of consequences, but not long later, he did get himself in trouble. In 2018, he made a joke on Twitter involving Tesla stock, which many people took seriously, leading them to make important financial decisions. People got really mad, and he ended up having to pay a fine of $20 million. A year later, in 2019, higher-ups and other people were once again not happy to see him smoking marijuana on the podcast, states Tom McKay at Gizmodo.com. Despite these mistakes, he moved on and currently is now doing better than ever. Colin Beresford at CarAndDriver.com says that his current net worth is now $115 billion, making him the third richest man in the world. This is due to the success of his current companies. SpaceX is doing better than ever and is currently about to have their own rocket launch on September 30th, 2020. Tesla is still making new vehicles, trying to make them safer and better than ever, and in a few years will be releasing their first own Cybertruck. In his own personal life, he seems to also be doing happy. He is currently dating the famous Canadian singer Grimes, and they had their first child back in May of 2020. Oddly enough, his name is XAA12. Very robotic. His latest project is Neuralink, which is a brain chip that could really change the world. This chip gets planted into your brain and fits with your neurons and could cure things such as spinal injuries, dementia, Parkinson's, PTSD, and so much more. Elon Musk has done a lot for the world, and I doubt he's anywhere near done. In this speech, I have shown you parts of Elon Musk's childhood, education, career, success, and current social life. Elon Musk has been a huge inspiration for me, and I know for many, many others, and he's not done doing what he does best. He has proven that anyone can actually go from rags to riches. I believe he will be remembered in all the history books, and will be remembered as one of the most interesting men